Borderlands 4 has finally been shown. Are we nervous? Are we excited? Let me know. Let me know how you're feeling about Borderlands 4 down in the comments. I'm going to tell y'all about how I feel. I'm going to kind of dig into it, not just a general sense of nervous or excited. In a general sense, I'll tell you right up front, I'm excited. I'm cautiously excited, but I'm excited. There's been a lot of things to impact that excitement and make me weary of that excitement, as far as Wonderlands, how that went, new tales from the Borderlands. As far as the majority of people goes, I didn't play it personally, but I watched Eruption Fang. Shout out to him. I'll have his channel linked down below. He is amazing for Borderlands. Lore fiend. Absolutely amazing. Covers everything. He called a lot of what's going on in Borderlands 4 as far as we've seen in this trailer. Anyways, but New Tales didn't go so hot. The movie speaks for itself. Apologies for any background noise, the vacuuming and all kinds of things going on around in the house. But anyways, so I'm nervously excited, cautiously excited, nervous about certain aspects, and we're going to dive into that here right now. Welcome one and all. I am your Statistax. I talk a lot about Borderlands because Borderlands is one of my favorite franchise in gaming. Absolutely adore Borderlands 1, 2, 3, and the pre-sequel. Have videos on pretty much all of those games if you'd like to check them out. I even have videos talking about Wonderlands and the modding scene of Wonderlands Redux if you'd like to check that out. It's really awesome. Anyways, let's get into nervous or excited and what topics I'm excited about, what topics I'm nervous about in Borderlands 4. First, I want to talk about the trailer in a general sense, and then we can go more in depth. Really quick, I just want to say that I think Gearbox intentionally made this trailer in a certain light, because I read somebody saying, and it just seems more and more true the more I watch it, there's no goofy overtone or anything. It's a very serious trailer. It's very dark and gritty, like it kind of gives me that vibe. It's just like, you see Callus, and it's kind of like slams the mask on the face and you're like, oh shit, what's this all about? But then it's like an even more menacing figure in the Timekeeper, when you get to see like this shadowed figure, and then at the end of the trailer there's him in front of that big vault gate that's like a metal one. It's not made of rock like they typically are, and it glows orange instead of purple. So what's up with that? I think they intentionally did a lot of this. I think they intentionally made it a more serious, story-focused trailer. It has a lot of lore in there that has just been kind of tucked away in the background. That's the one thing about Borderlands, is a lot of the lore gets tucked in the background that's really important to the story. It shouldn't just be background lore, like the Iridian logs. I think that is a huge mistake on Gearbox part in Borderlands 3. I think if Borderlands 3 focused more on these Iridian logs, instead of making it so that you beat the game basically and then have to backtrack, you have to go like 3/4 of the way into the game and then backtrack to all these maps to get all of the Iridian logs, and my phone. So anyways, my point is that they've been putting a big emphasis on the way they're gonna do the story. They're gonna handle the story in a more serious light. They're going to be making your character feel more important in the story. There is just so much of them preaching this, so much of them preaching all of this story related stuff, because there was so many complaints about the story in Borderlands 3. And I think a huge part of this is the Timekeeper looks like a very serious, menacing threat. And something that I preached to my friends is that Handsome Jack was malice first. What I mean by this is that he wasn't just trying to crack jokes. His jokes came from how malicious he was, how evil he was. What a terrible lack of empathy kind of person he was. I think of the Echo log when he's talking to, I forget the lady's name in Borderlands 2. In the beginning, there's an Echo log you can get. It's this lady that's got her face all messed up. Handsome Jack asks about, what happened and all that yada yada, kind of laughing at her face, and then she talks about how she lost her husband, and, her husband had some ring that messed up her face somehow and all this stuff, and then he just is like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then blows her head off and is like, at least you got something in common with him now, It's just like, He doesn't try to crack a joke. He's just making being evil ridiculous. He makes it so incredibly like there's no empathy. There's no anything for him to feel for others. He just makes light of it in this absolutely malicious way. And it makes for good, dark humor, which is what Borderlands was in Borderlands 2. I'll always give Borderlands 2 its credit for that. It's credit for being this funny, dark humor game. I think Borderlands 3 did pull away from that to some extent. I think it was still funny sometimes, but the Calypso twins weren't threatening. It felt like they tried too hard with the comedy on their side of things. And so I have a good feeling when it comes to this stuff about Borderlands 4. I have a good feeling. I think these trailers and everything, there's a lot of intent with it. The way they've been preaching about the story and stuff and how, you know, they're going to incorporate your character. I think they're really trying to make a good story here. I think they're going to pull it off, I hope. Am I nervous? Absolutely. But what I will say is most of their main lines, they nailed what's been going on in the main lines. I know all the spin-offs have been kind of wishy-washy. The only spin-off they really got, in my opinion, and they still kind of failed because the company died, was Pre-Sequel. I think Pre-Sequel is way underappreciated. Again, if you haven't tried it, if you haven't played it, if you don't know the story there, go play it. It's incredible. The character writing, everything. The writing in that game is incredible. Don't play it like it's a story. Don't play it like it's a game that has an end game, because you're not going to get that. You're going to be left disappointed. In gameplay and everything, is it more Borderlands 2? Probably, but it also has some of the best Vault Hunters in Borderlands, period. Not even sorry for saying that. Like, just go play the game. So gameplay for Borderlands 4, am I nervous or excited? I'm excited. I think it's going to be a slam dunk. I mean, Borderlands 3 had a lot of good things. I think they got the complaints from Borderlands 3, and I think Legendaries are going to have a lot more value and weight to them when it comes to when they drop. The thing that was an issue in Borderlands 3, and the misconception in Borderlands 3, is that people say, oh, Legendaries dropped like candy. You know, the game was too easy because of X, Y, and Z, most of that being Legendaries dropping so much. Thing is that there was an issue in Borderlands 3 in and of itself that people were kind of misconceiving, and it's not that Legendaries dropped too much, or maybe that's part of it, but the bigger issue within that is that there are layers within Legendaries, and that can't be. Legendaries are supposed to be just that, Legendaries. I mean, a woodblocker from Borderlands 3 is not going to be something you take into a raid boss. It's just not. And Legendaries should be that. Legendaries should be something you take into a raid boss. But they have this layer of, oh, okay, these are Legendaries that are decent to good in a normal playthrough. Whereas then there's Legendaries that are like, okay, these ones are good for Mayhem 4. These ones are good for, you know, up to Mayhem like 8. And then these are finally the actual endgame Legendaries. And it's like, why are they layered like this? This makes no sense. They're Legendaries. Make them good for endgame. Make them good for raids. It just doesn't make any sense for there to be tiers within the Legendary system when the whole point of the loot system is to have tiers to tell you what is good, decent, great, outstanding. So anyways, my point is, I think that they listened with this. I mean, if you watch Borderlands 3 trailers, there are I know this sounds like a ridiculous thing to try to take from, to have some kind of takeaway, but in this trailer there was one instance of like loot drops and stuff, and there were 3 Legendaries out of the entire pile. A lot of purples, some blues, some greens, and a couple of whites. I mean, if you watch a Borderlands 3 trailer, there were a lot of Legendaries dropping in those Borderlands 3 trailers. They were like loot vomiting Legendaries and all kinds of things. Like, it was wild to watch. But in this, the loot drop, I mean, look at it. It's pretty sparse, to be honest, in comparison. And you know, I know it's a trailer and stuff, so it's like, how much can you actually take away from that? Probably not a lot, but I do think there's a lot of intent with what they're showing. I mean, that's how it is with trailers, right? There's always an intent. And I think the intent is that they were listening. The story is very focused in this trailer, and then the loot drops, it's like they show one instance of like a loot drop kind of thing, and there's only 3 legendaries out of the entire pile. The playable characters, I think I'm very excited to see more about them. We really don't know a lot, so it's kind of hard to be like nervous or excited, but overall I'm excited. I think the skill trees and all that stuff, I think they're gonna nail it. I've never seen Gearbox not nail that, really. I mean, they have like a couple of characters in each game, maybe like 1 or 2 characters where they're kind of like or like in Borderlands 3 with the 4th skill trees, some of them are like but it's overall they nail it. And from what I've heard or read from people, overall there's a big feeling of uninspired from the look, except for the siren. I've seen pretty much everyone agree, like, the siren looks like a badass. And then everybody else is kind of bland. I like the big guy, the Viking-like kind of guy that throws the axe in the trailer. I think he looks really cool. A little bit like a generic TF2 character or something, but still I like how he looks. And I think, again, there's a little bit of intent in here, because I think the customization is going to be a heavy lean in in this game, you know? Like, I think they're kind of, I don't want to say they're purposely making them bland. That would be kind of stupid on their part, in my opinion. But I do think it matters less how they look right now, because at the very least, we're going to have Borderlands 3 level customization on the characters. At best, we're gonna have somewhere between Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands level of customization. I don't think it's gonna be on the level of Wonderlands. These are preset characters. I don't think you're gonna be able to change like the gender and all that stuff. A siren is a female. I think that's pretty much all there is to it. So I think maybe you'll be able to change like the head, the body. Maybe they'll go a little bit more in depth where it's like you can change the pants and then the torso and things like that. So maybe they'll give it a little bit more depth, which is what I'm saying, is where it's like a level between like Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands. So that would be interesting to see. But overall, gameplay, playable characters, the weapons, I think, is absolutely going to be a slam dunk. There's one instance in the trailer where it's showing the new siren using a weapon. The tattoos are glowing, so this could be some kind of an action skill or something, but it looks like a laser weapon to me that they're using. So my hope is that they brought laser weapons back. That'd be so cool. Something that got me really excited when I thought about it is they're definitely going to have Wonderlands kind of melee style, where it's just very improved melee. That got me really excited, because the guy all the way to the left, when they show the playable characters, there is an instance where they show him using his action skill very obviously, because he's got this like digitized visor with these digitized blades, and he's doing this sick twirl thing. Like, it just looked so freaking cool. And thinking about the new improved melee system with that dude got me really hyped. I was like, oh my god, a melee build with that new improved melee and a dope, meaningful, very good depth end game. It's gonna be so fun. I just think the gameplay for Borderlands 4 will be a slam dunk. They already, it seems like, possibly have a raid boss in mind for the launch of Borderlands 4, which has been a highly requested thing. If you want to watch some videos I made, there is a Borderlands 4 desired features where I made a video talking about my desired features, and then there was another video I made shouting out some other people's desired features that came through in the comments down below. And if you want to be a part of that, put some of your desired features of Borderlands 4 down below in the comments, because I'm probably going to be making another one of those videos pretty soon, shouting out some people's desired features and whatnot. And I'd love to see what you have to say and maybe be a part of the video. So anyways, what I was saying is a raid boss might possibly be, somebody found a leaked image, or not a leaked image, I don't know. I don't remember, but somebody somewhere on the internet, I saw it through K6's stream, so I don't remember where it all came from, but there was an image found where it was labeled and it had the word raid boss in it. Apologies for the crappy details, I don't remember a ton. But so yeah, gameplay, slam dunk, Characters and dialogue, I do have some nerves for, definitely. I think I have some nerves for the story, the lore, the characters and dialogue, but the story and lore less. I think I personally think with this trailer, it gave me some confidence in the story. The characters and dialogue, I'll be nervous for, because Borderlands 3 was kind of a mess with that. Wonderlands, however, if you haven't played Wonderlands, it's worth a playthrough. And then if you want to watch my videos on the Redux and everything, that makes it really fun for endgame. If you're on PC. It's only on PC. Sorry, console people. But the characters and dialogue, I did get a little bit of a boost in confidence when I thought back to Wonderlands, because they did so well with the villain in that. They did so well with so many characters in there. The story was really good, even though it doesn't quite matter as much toward an actual canon Borderlands or anything. It was still really entertaining, really good. The villain in it was awesome. So I have some nerves for characters and dialogues and all that stuff and story, but overall the story I have a good amount of confidence in. I have a good amount of confidence in the villain and stuff. Maybe some of the surrounding cast I'll have a little bit of nerves for. Hopefully they're not too, I don't know, try hard, for a lack of better words. But music, I think music is going to kick ass. I think pretty much Gearbox always brings it with the music. Wonderlands, they didn't really, but I'll give them a pass. The music was kind of meh in Wonderlands. Like, it was good for what it is, but it just didn't pop like a Borderlands game would have music just absolutely in your ears bumping. But I have no worries about that. The map/zones, I do have some concern. I've seen hints of like, oh, open world or something like that. I'm more of a fan of the open zone than open world. Open world being the difference between open zone and open world. Open world being one map, spans much larger than open zone, but it's all one map. Whereas open zone is multiple open maps, but they're all smaller and more condensed. And I like the idea of open zone more, because then you can easily diversify your maps. You don't have to try to blend anything in. Like, you could have an all metal factory kind of map, and you don't have to try to blend that into going from that to like a grassy forest area or anything. That's something I don't think people really think about when they think about open world. But open zone just allows for an easier diversity in the maps and how they feel and look and sound and everything. So I'm personally hoping it's still open zone. I think it will be. Maybe the maps will be a little bit larger than Borderlands 3. Like, maybe they'll feel more open world, but they'll still be open zone technically, because maybe they'll just make the zones bigger maps, because the zones might come down to just planets. Instead of there being multiple zones on a planet, there's just these zones are planets, and then that's it. There's no zones within the planets to fast travel to. It's just when you get to a planet, it's an open world on there, which I guess that's okay. I do have some concern for it, but hopefully they do good with all of that. Hopefully they keep saying it's like their most ambitious game and everything, which I know a lot of people say about their sequels and whatnot, but it's sounding like they're trying to open up and expand even more with maps and size and all that stuff. But I mean, I think the gaming industry as a whole has been learning that it's not always about, oh god, I'm gonna say it, it's not always about the size. So yeah, it's just, you know, there's a little concern there. We'll see what happens. I'm really excited to see more on Borderlands 4. They did say that there will be a deeper dive, like gameplay look in early 2025. We don't know what early 2025 is. My assumption is the first quarter, which is up until April. So I think somewhere between January and April, we'll see a gameplay look of Borderlands 4. And I can't wait, because honestly, it sounds so stupid, but the tiniest of gameplay shots that we got kind of got me excited. I saw the gun there, it looked very Borderlands, it just got me excited, and you know, Borderlands is my favorite franchise. I can't help but be excited for it, even though I'm nervous because of the last few projects they've done. I just really want a good Borderlands 4. I hope the story nails it. I hope the gameplay nails it. I hope the endgame nails it. I mean, the playable characters, the skill trees. I just can't wait to see it all, have it in my hands and play it and try it. And I just pray that it comes out an A+ game. So what am I nervous about? I'd say the map slash zones, and the characters slash dialogue, from like more of the surrounding cast slash side quests and things. I'm a little bit more nervous about story, lore. I'm very excited about. It seems like, again, the pre-sequel story is finally coming to fruition here, like a decade later in Borderlands 4. Super exciting, super exciting. So story, lore, definitely excited. Gameplay, playable characters, weapons, I'm very excited for that. So that is where I am with excited or nervous. Overall for the game, I'm excited. In a general sense, I am very excited, to the point where I keep kind of trying to have to pull myself back down to earth, because it's just too early. It's just way too early. But if you couldn't tell from this channel, and if you haven't been to this channel, look around at the videos I've made. I love Borderlands. It's my favorite franchise for gaming. But with that, that pretty much does it here. So let me hear it down below. What are you excited for? What are you nervous from in Borderlands 4? Are you nervous for the whole game? Are you overall excited for the whole game? Let me hear it down below, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.